Why would you name your child Beatty? I don't get it. Like, you know the judge. You get where this is going. They're stuck there. Dead husband, not the real husband, the dead one. This book is kind of traumatizing, if I'm being honest with you. Forgot. Hi, my name is Angelus and welcome back to my channel if you're new around here, and if you're not new around here, what is up? How's it going? In today's video we are going to be doing a suspense reading challenge. Not 24 hours, we're just reading books, finishing them, doing our thing, and we have 3 suspense books here. Very excited. In the order that we're reading them in, we're going to be starting off with The Cliff House by Chris Brookmyre. Then we're going to be going on to The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. And last but not least, we are doing Earthlings by Saika Murata. I'm so excited to start this challenge. I'm not gonna hold you guys up. We're just gonna get right into it. Let's go. We're back. Y'all didn't see me in my scarf before, so you already know it's about to get juicy. Okay, so we're on book 1 and this is Cliff House. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, at first I was like, why y'all got so many damn people? Y'all already know the book is about like 7 women coming together for this girl's, it's not really a bachelorette party, it's just basically like a bachelorette weekend kind of, but the book like jumps between all 7 women point of views, and so it is really like, in the beginning it is really hard to get a grasp of like who is doing what. It's been about an hour, so I'm on page 67. This isn't a time challenge, I'm just reading. But anyway, let's get to the juicy shit, because I'm like, bitch, the fuck. Okay, so first things first, you got Jen. There's like a bunch of women, I'm gonna forget their names, but we're gonna try and give it a rundown. There are 7 women here for this bachelorette weekend, and they're all here because Jen is getting married. Little do y'all know that Jen is marrying some guy named Zaki, new guy, but her previous husband is dead, like she's a widow. But her previous husband went missing for 7 years, and well, he went missing for 7 years, and for the first like 5 of those, I guess they just called it like him missing because they couldn't find him. And for the last 3, they were like, okay, we're just gonna pronounce him dead because we can't find this man. Whatever. There's Jen's tennis coach, and that's Kennedy. The tennis playing fashionista, whatever her name is, I believe that's Nicolette. The famous pop star, that's Michelle. And the pop star's estranged ex-bandmate, that's Helena. And then Jen's future sister-in-law, Samira. And then you have Lauren, who I believe is like the front desk person, front desk lady. And then there's another girl, her name is Beatty. I know, right? Why would you name your child Beatty? I don't get it. Stay with me. So you first meet Beatty, and I was like, who the fuck is this bitch? I have never heard this name before in my life. And she said something along the lines of like, she feels that Jason, dead husband, not the real husband, the dead one, would still be alive if not for the fact that Michelle had left him. Now I know you're thinking, clock in. Why would Michelle leave him? What are you talking about? Michelle's the pop star. Apparently when they were younger kids, Michelle, her and Jason went very well together. Apparently something happened and Michelle's parents like moved away or moved out of town, and that's how Jason ended up getting with Jen. Michelle, on the other hand, says something along the lines of like, if I had have known the things that I know now after having been with him, I would have warned Jen. Jen is saying that Jason was involved in drugs and had a lot of people after him. And Beatty's like, my brother is a great person. He would never do that. And Michelle is like, at the ripe age of 14, when they were together, he was manipulative and controlling. Which I'm like, damn, he must have been horrible, because like for a 40-year-old woman to think back on how you were acting when you were 14 and say that it was frightening, it means that you were like egregious. Whatever. We're almost halfway through. I want to make sure that I get everyone's names right. But the person who went missing was, drum roll, not Beatty, it was Samira. Michelle gets up and like walks out because she's like, I'm gonna go see what's taking dinner, and everyone else is like just chilling. Samira also goes and like walks off, and when Michelle gets to the back, she's like, ah, yeah. And everybody runs and they're like, what's going on? What's going on? Everyone except Samira because she gets kidnapped and the chef is dead. Like he's like dead. And that's like where shit starts really like going crazy. They're like, okay, this is horrific. He's obviously dead. Let's call the police. Phones aren't working. Let's get on WhatsApp and see if we can contact someone to call the police. Internet's also not working. They're like, well, let's get on the boat and just leave the island. Boat's gone. Like, you know the judge. You get where this is going. They're stuck there. One of you has like a really deep secret and you need to tell the truth. And if you tell the truth, then I'll let Samira go. This is what I kind of just don't like in general though, is that when the Reaper told them one of you needs to tell your secret, Jen immediately assumed that she was the one who had the biggest secret, which obviously we can presume that it probably was her killing Jason. Like, I'm just gonna make the assumption, and no one will blame you. Like, I'll never blame you for killing your abusive husband. I get it. And so she like basically persuades all of the other women forego like telling any of their secrets. If you think about it from the perspective of like, this person is going to die unless you fess up. I get Jen may not want to talk about whatever she did, but the fact of the matter is that none of the other women even remotely tried. They were all like, nah, I'll go along with your plan, which is to see if we can find her before we have to speak up about what we did. If that had been me, I would have been like, why are y'all so agreeable about the plan where we just no one says anything? That means that y'all also have some shit that y'all don't want to talk about, and that's a problem. Anyway, I'm just gonna finish the book. Book is crazy. We're on The Last Murder at the End of the World. A banger. This is a banger. There's a bunch of people on this island and it's like the last remnants of humanity after this fog kind of completely changed the world. The fog destroys everything that it touches and it kind of has forced 122 people into like this little confined island where they have built the security system that protects them. The security system's name is Abby and it is very weird. It kind of acts like a voice in everyone's head. Everyone is born with it. She's the first person that they hear on the island and she can hear everyone's thoughts, and I do mean everyone's thoughts. You can't do anything without her knowing about it, and she does notify the elders when people are up to something. She's like the presidential snitch. Everyone's used to it at this point. Along with Abi, you have the elders who are kind of in control of Abi: Nima, Hephaestus, and Thea. And they're all very, very old. When I say elders, I mean like over the age of 90. There are a few things weird about that. The first thing that's weird is that obviously you are kind of lacking civilization. You don't necessarily have the tools to keep up with technology. So the likelihood of someone living to the age of 90 in this type of world is like nice. Also, the problem is that the actual age on the island that everyone lives to is 60, and that goes for everybody except for the elders. Everyone dies at the age of 60. Another thing that's kind of weird about this island is that everyone on the island, they arrive at the age of 8, so people aren't born. Like, women don't have children, I believe. I think it's more so that the person is kind of, I guess, created in whatever fashion they're in on this mountain inside this dome, and then they are brought down to their family, and that's just the end of it. And the people also on the island have a curfew, except for the elders, you know, the 3 that I told you about, and the curfew is at 7. It's not the curfew that you think. It's a curfew as in like literally lights out. It means that wherever you are, whatever you're doing at 7 o'clock, you will literally faint and pass out. After the curfew, do experiments on them. The problem is that no one has any recollection of these experiments. I'm guessing it involves some form of memory wiping. It's really weird. It's actually really, really good, but it's also hella fucking weird. Final book in our reading series. If you're wondering why it was so quick or why the scenery changed, is because I'm currently somewhere else, but it is the final book and I have officially finished it. And what I will say is that this book is what is this book? This book is kind of traumatizing, if I'm being honest with you. It's like highly traumatizing. I always thought that I was not someone who was easily unsettled. Reading this let me know immediately that no, that's not the case. I'm quite literally crybaby. I read all of this literally on the plane. It's a very short read. I was on the plane literally about to cry. I felt so put off by everything that occurred in this book. Spoiler warning, the content of this book is quite challenging to say the least. It's also deeply unsettling, and the book itself is very, very good, but it is also highly unsettling. And so I don't necessarily know if it's something that I can give like a full, like not necessarily a review of, but something that I can necessarily talk about in my videos without possibly triggering someone. And I know you're probably thinking like, well, just tell people that they're going to be triggered and then talk about it. No, when I say the contents of this book are like triggering to a point where I don't really want to talk about it on camera, I mean that. What I will say, I'll give like a brief description, but first and foremost, big massive disclaimer, this book is not suspense. It is very much so just anxiety inducing. Basically, the book starts off with this young girl named Natsuki who believes that she is not from planet Earth, that she gets this little plush doll that she calls Piyut, and she believes that he is from a completely other planet. He tells her that she is also not from this planet, and that's just how it starts. You just think that this is just a child who, you know, seems to think that they're not from here. I think that she may have actually, the character herself, I think may have actually grown out of believing that she was not from here, but a lot of highly traumatic things happened to her in her childhood, and she describes herself as being the dumpster of her family. Her family is like going through a lot. Her younger sister, when she was little, was always sick. Her mother was not very like great at her job, and her father was just very kind of quiet, timid, and Natsuki kept to herself. Whenever her family is upset about something or having a hard time going through something, they immediately verbally and emotionally abuse her. Because she believes she's not from Earth, she believes that this is normal, and she calls it the factory. I mean, it can be like, you know, a statement for anything, but overall it's just the cog of humankind, the everyday tasks that we do, the things that we observe, the way that we act, and the goal is to become a good, I think she even says that, to become like a good worker for the factory of life. It morphs into this idea that, oh, these things that are happening to me are just the factory, it's just the thing that happens. But when you start to feel as though that those things that are happening are normal when they are absolutely not normal, it only pushes her further into her delusions. And so you see someone who never really grows out of this mindset. I'm just being honest with you, it's utterly horrific. And you see her just gradually recede more and more and more into herself, to the point where it's even little things like when her mother says like, you're useless, she agrees with her. She's like, yeah, she's right, because she thinks she's not from here. She's like, well, I'm an alien. And she goes, if the person who made me thinks I'm useless, then I absolutely must be useless. And since I also don't believe that I am from here, I know I'm useless. I read it for you guys, if I'm being honest with you. But Jesus Christ. I'm glad that we're ending the challenge with this one, because if I had started the challenge with this video would not be done. But this is the last book. All right, and we're back at the end of the challenge. We have finished all 3 books. I'm just going to be giving my ratings of the books, just like as a whole, as well as a rating of the author's writing style, and then I'm going to be ranking them in terms of what I think you should be reading. My rating of Cliff House, I definitely give this an 8 out of 10. It was very, very, very entertaining. Trying not to spoil it. If you're into suspense and you're into true like whodunits and you like cool twists, and I definitely recommend you to read this. Second up, we have The Last Murder at the End of the World. I also really like this one. I definitely will give this one like a 9 out of 10, honestly. This had my head spinning. I could not figure out what was going on, and by the end I was so like, oh my god, this is insane. Shooketh. Also highly recommend this one as well. Earthlings, well, you guys already saw my review kind of towards the end of the video. I don't even know what to give Earthlings. I think in terms of like a book, I don't know, an 8 or 9 out of 10 as well. This is really not suspense. This is more like psychological, twisty, bendy. It's not really suspense so much as it is just like weird. I feel like someone on the cover explained it, yeah, startling. Like the New Yorker described this book as startling. That's exactly what it is. I don't know how to tell someone not to read something and read it at the same time, but this is me telling you not to read this. And if you do desperately want to read it, or you're just so curious, I highly recommend you going to Wikipedia and spoiling it for yourself so that you were not surprised by what you meet. Going back to Cliff House, in terms of writing style, I rank the writing style in this book probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10, but there are a lot of point of views in this book, and the author I'm pretty sure writes this book Ireland or Scotland. Characters are definitely from there, so the slang is a bit hard to understand. And not to say that like there's anything wrong with having slang. When it comes to writing it into stories, you want for your book to remain timeless, and when you input a lot of slang, whether it be American slang or Scottish slang, it ages the book a lot and it makes it more difficult to read. It's not a lot of it, but when it's there, it's definitely noticeable. In terms of The Last Murder at the End of the World, writing style gets a 9 out of 10 for me, period, point blank, period. This book, I could not put it down. When I was reading it, I was enjoying it so much. But what I found very interesting about this book is that it is written with multiple perspectives in mind. All of these perspectives are written from the angle of AI, but because it's able to read the minds of everyone on the island and talk to everyone on the island, you get to really see see all angles of their mindset. Earthlings writing style, I also give this like a 9 out of 10. The writing style is actually, this author did this book very, very, very well because the experience is quite visceral. You really feel like you're there, and it sucks because of all the traumatic events that kind of spiral. You feel the angst and anxiety and the shame, and sometimes you feel it more than the character does because of how she dissociates when these events occur with her, and because of how she others herself. I do this in every challenge. If you're looking for something that is fun, looking for something that's kind of going to force you to think a little bit and really put your sleuth Pink Panther hat on, your Nancy Drew outfit on, and really get to the bottom of the case, then I highly recommend The Cliff House. If you're really interested in technology and you have your opinions about how AI kind of prevents people from thinking on their own 2 feet, you want to kind of mix that in with a little bit of a murder mystery, and you just want to read a really, really banger book, definitely read The Last Murder at the End of the World. If you want to go on a journey of survival and you question societal norms, and you maybe have experienced the feeling of othering yourself during hardship, I recommend maybe for you to read this. Spoil it first. Book is not a laughing matter. It is very, very, very serious. I hope that you guys really enjoyed the video. I also hope that you guys got some new ideas. If you have any books that you would like for me to read, please comment them down below. Also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.